everybody. My name is Carla Ganem and I'm a middle school art teacher in Strongsville, Ohio. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own graffiti letters, and I will show you two different ways to do it with different supplies. First, you'll need a white sheet of paper and a pencil with an eraser. Next, you'll need a chisel tip Sharpie. I prefer this, it's the largest one for the nice thick black lines. If you're going to do a chalk pastel, such as this one, I use these colored chalk pastels. They blend very well. Or you can do a watercolor look, which I will be demonstrating today. For this, you'll need Crayola markers, a cup of water, and any size paintbrush will do. Lastly, in order to frame it, this one I just glued onto my sketchbook. This one, I glued onto a piece of paper, so optional, you can have a colored piece of paper that you're gonna glue it onto, or you might wanna laminate it, so a bottle of Elmer's glue, and of course scissors to cut it out with. All right, join me in making this awesome project. To start, we're first gonna choose what name or word you want to do in the graffiti style. I'm going to choose my name, which is Carla, so I'm just going to write it up here, just to space it out. So my name has 5 letters, and I do have a middle letter. If your name is Jack, or anything that has 4, 6, 8 letters, you don't have a middle letter, so you just kind of have this space in the middle. Now, instead of just starting to draw the letters nice and large on this sheet of paper, I'm actually just going to use horizontal lines to line up where the letters are going to be. So I'm going to do one in the middle, one here, one here. And the reason I'm doing this is because if I decide I want to change these, I don't have to erase the whole letter. I just have to erase a part of this line. So maybe I want my middle letter to be a little bit shorter so I can squeeze in these other ones. Notice how lightly I'm sketching. That's because I do a lot of erasing. So if you sketch light, the erasing is going to be a lot easier. So this kind of shows me exactly where I'm going to have my letters. With this style, they will overlap a little bit, so it doesn't have to be exact, but it helps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those of you that like to be more mathematical, you can definitely measure it out and make it exact. So there's 3 rules to making graffiti style letters. The first one is you want to make your letters in all caps. Okay, capital letters only, and then you also want to space them apart. The second rule is you want to add something to make them a little bit longer, either going higher than the line or lower than the line. So you want to stagger the height. And then lastly, you want to add something to the tops and the bottoms. So I say you can add a foot or maybe a hook. So a hook just kind of reminds me of a hook from a fishing rod. A foot is something that it just stands on. Think of if you're drawing like an upside down T. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write my name in all caps. And they're spaced apart. Next, I'm going to stagger the height. So I can't really make my C larger or longer without erasing the whole thing. So I'm just going to kind of ignore the C. The A, I can make that a little bit longer up there on the R. I can make this longer. Maybe I'll make that even longer than the original one. And then I'll just do the same thing to the A. And that way you kind of have it looking a little bit more unique. So I'm going to add a foot and a hook to a lot of these. There's a foot there. Maybe I'll do a little hook in. This takes a little bit of practice, so start this in your sketchbook. If you don't trust yourself doing it on your final, maybe make that there. I'll do a foot on the top of the A. Maybe I'll do a hook on the C. And that'll kind of give it a little bit of height going up. And I think that's good. Lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to make copycat lines around all of these. So I'm actually going to do this in a Sharpie so that you can see it a little bit better, and then you can see which lines are going to be erased. So the copycat lines should stay equal distance away from the original letter. So you don't want some of it too close and some of it too far away. And then, like I said earlier, I do want these to overlap a little bit. And we are going to cut it out, so it makes that a little bit easier. Don't forget to do the copycat lines inside of the bubbles of letters, like A, R. So once you have that outline, you can go ahead and erase these original lines. Again, sketching light really helps you to erase it so you can't see the lines and you don't waste your whole eraser. Once you have the inside lines erased, I'm going to show you how to make these pop a little bit. So using the chisel tip Sharpie, I'm going to create a shadow on the right side of each letter. So I'm actually going to write it here so that we remember, because sometimes you get confused when you're doing this. So the shadow is going to be on the right side of each letter and each part of the letter and the top. So if you look at the chisel tip Sharpie, you see that it's on an angle. So that immediately gives you a nice thick edge. Okay, so I'm going on the right side of each part of each letter. Now that I finished making this look three-dimensional, I'm going to go ahead and add some color to it. So there's a couple different ways you can add color. You can just do designs with markers if that's what you want to do. You can also use chalk pastels to make a really quick and effective shading on here. I'm going to show you how to use Crayola markers and then blend them with watercolors. So I'm going to use a color scheme that's going to blend well together. So I'm going to go with some cool colors. So I'm going to do a light blue, a dark blue, and then a violet. And again, we're going to be cutting this out, so I'm not going to worry about getting outside of the lines. And I'm just kind of coloring the top portion of this with the light blue. I'm going to be adding water to it, so it's going to blend, so you don't need to color the whole thing in. Sometimes if you color too much in, it actually blends and it doesn't give the watercolor effect. It's just a little bit too much color. And then maybe I'll do a gray for the bottom. It should blend a little bit with the purple. And now I'm going to pause this so that you can go get a cup of water and a paintbrush. The next step is to add water to this. So I have a water cup and a paintbrush. And since this is going to be cut out, I'm not going to worry about going outside of the lines. I'm going to do all of the light blue first. And I'm kind of just painting the same direction that I used when I was using the marker. And then I'll go down to the darker blue. You can already see it starting to blend together. And the cool thing is, as it dries, it continues blending and blending. So it'll look different from right now while it's wet to when it dries. The colors will change a lot. It's pretty cool to see how it happens. And once I finish doing this, I'm going to pause it again and let it dry. And then you can see the finished project. Now that your names are all finished drying and they are cut out, you can choose how you want to finish them. Maybe you would like to mat them on a colored sheet of paper. So if you have a variety of paper, you can kind of test them out and see what you like. I've also done this where you can use it as a cover for a sketchbook or anything else. And the cool thing with mine is if you don't connect all your letters like I did, then they come separate and then you can kind of overlap them if you need to. So if you want to put them on a sketchbook, you can do that. Tuck the edges under, glue them. And another option would be just to take this and take it to an office supply store and have it laminated. You could hang it on your door, hang it in your locker, whatever you want. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you made a cool design and you can use these skills to decorate any word, anywhere. Have a good one.